and it was closed for several hours. And of course we were getting anxious about getting our flight. So in the end, the local bus station came up with a bus. There's a story to that as well. But it was running close, so we actually, after the bus ride took us part of the way, the last bit we did with a taxi. We just didn't want to miss the flight. It's quite ironic actually, because the flight was delayed an hour and a half from Birmingham to us to take us back from Stuttgart back to Birmingham, and it was an hour and a half late, so we needn't have worried. But you know, when the future's uncertain and there's a flight involved, it does get a bit scary. Well, I find it scary. Anyway, I'll mention something else on the next over. Hope you've got time to listen to my trivia. M0RJS G3UKV.
G3UKV M0RJS. Oh, that all sounds absolutely fascinating. I must definitely try and do it next year. You know, I haven't been on a train for as long as I can remember. Trying to think when I was. Excuse me. Don't stand too close to your loudspeaker, Martin. You might catch my cold. I haven't actually got a cold. I just keep sneezing. One doesn't need to have a cold to sneeze. Yeah, that sounds absolutely super. It does indeed. Well, I say super. The hotel doesn't sound absolutely super. The total event sounds very interesting. It does indeed. Yes, I've been tearing about all over the place. I mean, 2 days ago we drove down to Bristol. That's we, the boss and myself. And yesterday we drove back again. And yesterday morning, before driving back, we had to kiss our dentist down there, you see. And yesterday morning we drove to a place called Flimbridge. Don't know whether you ever heard of it. It's an enormous, great sort of water. It's not a garden. It's a whole, I don't know what you call it, an estate. Huge, many acres, probably 100-acre estate. And it's all full of various ponds and different sorts of water birds. Absolutely amazing. I've been there before, but absolutely fascinating. Seem to be tearing about a bit. And at 11 o'clock this morning, I've got to go shooting up to the Lake District to take a grandson up there with one of his friends. And blessed my soul if on Monday I've not got to go shooting up to the Lake District to bring them back again. So go. I think in the last week I'd have driven about 1,000 miles, which even for my level of driving is a lot of miles. But coming up the M6 yesterday, I was concerned to see that there appears to be a new lot of roadworks going from sort of junction 14 to 16, well 14 to 15. There've been roadworks from 15. No, wrong. 14 to 16. I think that during part of the night thing is going to be closed, which will certainly make it more difficult for me coming down to the club. Getting down, that will be simple enough. It's getting back that's the problem, because with the motorway closed, obviously all motorway traffic will be diverted to the ordinary A roads. It'll be dark, so the ordinary A roads, which are not designed to take that level of traffic at all, will be ram-jam packed. And I'm wondering if I'm going to be able to make it down to the club over the next few weeks. Anyhow, we'll try it next Wednesday and see what happens. See where we go. What a load of rubbish. Back to you, Martin. G3UKV, M0RJS.
Good day. This is 2 Echo 1, Hotel Tango Uniform. And from King Martin to Golf Uniform Service.
M0RJS with 2E1HTU. Good morning, Ray. G3UKV. Okay, yes, the motorways are in a state, aren't they? And they so quickly close them, particularly nighttime ones. They think, business only runs during the day, so they can seem to learn to close them at night without really giving it a second thought. Particularly the last couple of years, I've had that problem going to other radio clubs in the evening coming back, and one memorable journey, both the I was using M42 and the M54 had closures on them, and so I went into territory, uncharted territory, to get home. Anyway, these things are sent to trials, aren't they? Bristol, Slimbridge. Yes. Isn't that the Peter Scott? Isn't he the fellow who set it up? Went visiting there, I remember, with my sister while still at school. We cycled down to there, would you believe? And from Cheltenham. And I remember, I'm pretty sure it was flamingos I saw there, white, and some of them were with pink colouring. Quite an amazing place. I think at that time it had only been set up for a year or two. It was a new thing, but I still quite fairly strong memories of it. Yeah, Slimbridge. Yes, just going back to that rail journey, the return bit, which got curtailed because of somebody jumping off a bridge. It worked out at just with fibres, €100. The total cost there and back, it was €20 each. As I say, a total of 6 hours travelling on the train, and very pleasant too as well. There wasn't too crowded at all, the train, and we just sat back and enjoyed the view. And there's these sort of two-level trains, some of the carriages are two-level, and so we tend to be on the upstairs one, where obviously the view is a bit like being on a bus, upstairs on traditional bus. Anyway, yes, the other thing I was going to tell you, I was very pleased when I came back. We got back Tuesday morning, very early in the morning. One of the things that had happened in our absence was they'd fitted broadband fibre, and it's fibre to the property, which is very good because you've got no wires radiating this VDSL. So with some trepidation, I switched on the rig on this band, on this frequency, and the noise is just the same as it was previously. In other words, very low. So delighted we've got that. One thing I didn't appreciate though was that the telephone is still in parallel. The copper wire is in parallel with the fibre wire. You know, they've got sort of twin tube, as I say, right to the premises. They did a very, very tidy job. Very good job. Maz saying it was an outreach fellow in short, and he's done an extremely tidy job. He apologised profusely when a tiny bit of plaster came off inside the cloakroom cupboard. Well, a wire had to go through, but done it very well indeed. And as I say, no extra noise, because I was a bit apprehensive, having heard so many people have trouble with VDSL noises on the HF bands. But as I say, no change at all. So very pleased with that. And of course, the broadband speed is, well, it says unlimited, but the highest I've seen so far is about 39 megabits, which is around about 15 times previous speeds. M0RJS. Be with you in a minute, Ray. G3UKV.
G3UKV with 2E1HTU. This is M0RJS. Very good morning, Ray. I could just hear you there. As a point of interest, Martin, just a quickie, what kind of speed do you get on this fibre, over?
Well, it varies quite a bit. The highest I've seen is 39, but it's always been over 30 megabits, over.
I'd have thought it would have been a lot faster than that. I'm surprised. Because my speed is around there, and I have been somewhere. Now, where the devil was it? Been somewhere quite recently where they had fibre, and the speed was 150 megabits. So I'm a bit surprised it's as slow as that. In fact, I'm absolutely amazed. Is it the same speed up and down, over?
Well, 2 points to make. Up speed's about 10 megabits. And down, as I say, so far it's been said now. But we've gone for the low-cost option. If I wanted to pay extra, we could have up to 300 and something megabits, Bob, over.
Ah, right. As a point of interest, what would that have cost you, over?
Well, I'm not quite sure, but I did see figures of something like £77 a month.
Whoops, yes, I can see why you've chosen I can see why you've chosen the one you've chosen. I would certainly have done exactly the same thing. Certainly would. I'm going to have to shoot off, I'm afraid, Martin. I've got all sorts of things to do before I go up to the Lake District. So I will have to make this my final. So many thanks to QSO. Delighted to hear about Friedrichshafen. And one of these days, I have to get down to the club. I'll certainly come down next Wednesday and see what the situation is coming back. You never know. Things are sometimes not quite as bad as they look as if they're going to be. And sometimes they are. So I'll say 73 and 73 to you, Ray. Pass it back to yourself, Martin. T3UKV with the group, M0RJS.
Yeah, righto, Bob. Yeah, okay, let you get it away. And, yes, well, the other good news I had was my PC had crashed severely. And I was quite worried that I might lose my things like important things like the Hamfest. But my roving technician, who's coming back from Germany today, Tim, he came over while I was away and basically put a new hard drive, solid state hard drive, a bigger one, 240, is it gigabytes, something like that, and I managed to retrieve all the data, all the files, so even my desktop looks almost like it did under Windows 7, so now it's Windows 10, so quite pleased with that. It brings me up to date with that, and I haven't lost any vital data, and it really is quite vital that I don't lose that. Okay, 73's Bob. Thanks for calling in. Nice to have a chat. And, oh, by the way, with Germany, we don't go every year. I won't go now for probably 3, I don't know. It's hard to say. A minimum of 2 years. I wouldn't go every year because when you look at, I've come back with some bits and pieces, and if you look at the cost, it's it's not cost effectively. It is. Well, in my opinion, it's better than Dayton in America. So it's probably the best in the world. Cheers now, G3UKV, signing with M0RJS.
Yes, clear.
Bye-bye, Bob. 21H to you. How are you doing, Ray? G3UKV.
Okay, Martin. It's 2 Hotel Alinco. Am I doing? I'm alright. I'm waiting for the car to come. And then, I'll be sorry here tomorrow. Sorry there, then. And, so, I'm waiting for anything new. I started to watching. And then, we'll go from there, Martin. I went round to yesterday. The opticians, as I said, and, within the papers and says there you are, sort of, and I right, what it means, just to make basic contact, separation and video response, insertion. Just bring anything can run, Martin says, so I'm open to Wednesday. They gave me the fair out, and then I got the phone number afterwards, and I said no. So he said, oh well, alright, I'll